We need an Israeli embassy type of protection.
Okay,
We
I
cannot
just
have,
want,
like
sir, just one
tomorrow,
second. Dr. Vivek, just
10
one second.
seconds.
I just want to
Okay.
ask my producers to run those visuals of the Indian diaspora coming out in large number and supporting
Absolutely.
the Indian tricolor. I think those are the visuals that many in India would like to see, and great work by the Indian diaspora there. These are
Yeah,
visuals of many
I
hundreds of
send
people
many
who've
of them.
gathered. Yes.
Correct.
You want to say something?
No, I said we send all these videos to you guys so that the Indians can know that we are doing our best for our own country.
Okay, but can I ask you very quickly, do you feel that because, let's say, there's an Indian origin PM in UK, Rishi Sunak, and that's why these activities are growing in UK to put pressure on him?
No.
Or is this purely
No.
because of the larger global K agenda, especially taking Amritpal
Correct.
as the peg?
Correct. In 2019, there was no Rishi Sunak, and we had huge attack on Indian High Commission in London. And Priti Patel was the Home Secretary. So these are all paid by their own people, ISI, Pakistan. They are all orchestrated by across the border.
Okay.
They don't खाने को पैसा नहीं है उनके पास, but इस कामों के लिए पैसा लगाते हैं बेवकूफ लोग.
What can I say? Abhijit Iyer, I don't think anybody could have said it better than what Dr. Vivek has said. That's the sentiment in India. Sometimes we should laugh it off as well, because frankly, this cannot hurt India beyond a point. But I want to understand from you, the Indian government, for example, has been pretty proactive in banning or withholding some of these Twitter handles in India that have been seen to cause a lot of chaos in India, most recently in the farmers' agitation case. Do you think that's the right way to go for India?
See, Shivani, the main thing here is that, India is a sort of mixed society. When you live in Gurgaon or something like that, you're living in 21st century India. You go 40 kilometers outside, you're living in 7th century India, where one rumor can essentially incite a whole mob. So unfortunately, whether we like it or not, these steps do become very necessary, especially in a flammable situation like Punjab. Now, it's a bit of an academic discussion if Amritpal Singh has the kind of following to trigger that response, because assume we did not do this and it did trigger a large response on the ground. How many people would have to lose their lives? It's the right to life is more important than the right to communication, number one. Number two, it's very important to look at the kind of coordination that happens on these angles. We know today how much was paid to Rihanna and other celebrities to tweet during that farmers' protest. Not that it changed anything on the ground, but it certainly gave, these people a lot of succor. They need, this sort of sense that they're winning a moral victory or a PR victory to compensate for the fact that they're never actually going to win anything on the ground. The third thing out here is, the UK as a general rule takes Indian security, even the US takes Indian security very, very lightly. And there's a reason for it. Remember, the Sikhs the Khalistanis especially are very, very strong in the San Francisco area. They're very, very strong in the British electorate. They tend to vote as a group, almost as a vote bank kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's almost seen as a sort of sop to them that we're not going to take Indian embassy seriously so that we don't alienate you. The surprising reaction, though, has been Trudeau, who's one of, he's the emperor of woke in that sense, has been very quiet about it. Apparently, a lot of his Sikh MPs have been going around telling him to do something, to say something. And he's been very, very quiet about it. Because if you remember the last time when he opened his mouth, it did not go down well. And you remember what a complete fiasco his trip to India was. But something very interesting has happened. I don't know if your producers have noted this. Today, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation has produced a report. There's an investigation ongoing into Chinese election interference in Canada. A lot of the Sikh community there have called for election interference by India in Canada to be probed.
Election interference by India in Canada?
India. Yes, because allegedly diplomats simply meeting the diaspora out there equals election interference. Wow. And it is so blatant the way the CBC is becoming another BBC copy. The BBC is completely infiltrated by Pakistanis. The CBC is completely infiltrated by Khalistanis. This is the kind of, equivalence that they're bringing up. If we bring this up, then we can interfere in Indian elections. And by the way, they've been interfering in Indian elections through and through. if you noted, all these Canadians, they come down to India during election season bearing T-shirts of their party and things like that, campaigning. And nobody ever pays attention. I mean, we don't have the police bandwidth to pay that attention and deport them
But
as and when
we
required.
could fault ourselves for that. The larger question I'm looking at is, what can India do to force a lot of these countries that are have been long-term partners in various fields? And of course, India's growing heft, both economically and diplomatically. Abhijit, very quickly before I go to our other two guests, what do you think India can do more to press on these countries? That, boss, we know that these characters that operate from your land, you either hand them over to us or block their funding, etc. Apart from, regardless of the fact that there are electoral things on, there are electoral things to consider on their part. But can India not press on them further?
Sure. Let me give you a 10-second example of what we can do, courtesy the Devyani Khobragade thing. There are illegal roadblocks in front and behind the UK embassy in Delhi, which the UK embassy has put up. We can remove them. The entire periphery of the UK embassy is a no parking area. We can turn it into a parking area. These are very, very simple tools, because if the British police isn't going to protect the Indian embassy, there's absolutely no reason to give enhanced security consideration to the UK High Commission in Delhi.
Okay. I request our other two guests who've not spoken to just give me 30